I've been thinking about him a lot lately. I'm gonna have to call him.
Sabbath peace.
Sabbath peace.
It's another opportunity for us to hear and learn of the word of truth that's given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast, and given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, it is made manifest or made obvious that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and it will be used against you in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, but no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. I'm trying to figure out how he handing out pizza. Let's go ahead. Well, let's recap. What we talked about last week? I think we was in the book of Daniel, right? A little bit of writing on the wall.
Oh yeah. When the king saw a hand or whatever, right?
Yeah, right. Wrote on the wall. It was Nebuchadnezzar boy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He saw the hand writing on the wall, and then he asked Daniel to interpret it for him. You know, remember the young lady? She was like, "Yeah, Daniel could do it." And they called Daniel, and he interpreted it for him. And after he did, he told him, he was like, "This is what it means." Daniel said, you know what I'm saying, at the end of it, he was like, "Yeah, they're about to come take your kingdom from you." Then later on, King Darius came and took his kingdom. All right? I think we left off in, where we leave off? Daniel chapter 6.
Oh yeah.
What verse?
We left off on Daniel 5. No, Daniel 6:5.
Daniel 6:5. All right, let's start off Daniel chapter 6, verse 5. We just picked right up from where we left off. Right now we're about to progress through history a little bit. We gotten past all our kings, so we're not gonna have no more kings. So until Yahushua come. And when I say when Yahushua come, really officially he won't be a king until he come back. All right, officially, you know what I'm saying. But outside of that, we don't have no more kings. So you know what I'm saying. We'll pick up from Daniel chapter 6, verse 5. Let's see what the book say.
Then said these men, "We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God."
Mm-hmm.
Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said unto him,
And remember, what do they mean by that? We're not going to find any occasion against him unless we find it concerning the law of his God. What do they mean by that?
You're going to try to get him to violate the law of his God.
Or the opposite, right?
Yeah, they're gonna try to make him.
They knew that
violate their law.
Right.
Doing something to serve his God.
Exactly, right? So they knew that he was going to keep his law, right? So what they said is, okay, we need to find out where his law is in conflict with our law. And because of that, put him in a position where, okay, well, you're going to get punished by our law. You're going to lose favor with the king by our law because you keep your law, right? And it'll put him in one of two positions. He has to compromise on his law, or he has to stay steadfast with the Most High God and then lose favor with the people, all right? So for them, that was a good plan. They're like, we know that's the only way we're going to get him. The man is upright. He do the right thing in every other way. So now we got to try to find a way to use that against. That's kind of what we were talking about before we started. You know, you have people, we in a generation that's just rebellious, right? They'd take a man of God, somebody that's a man of God, and they'd tear his butt down. Meanwhile, they'll tell their kids, go ahead and paint your nails every color because it's okay to be gay. Right? And that thing makes sense to them. Right? They'll tell a man that's trying to protect his daughter, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, I want to check her hymen because I set the expectation with my daughter that as long as you with me, you need to be a virgin. Right? And who knows what the conversation between T.I. and his daughter was? Who knows that the conversation, it may not even be that strict. It might just be, if you do lose your virginity, I need to know about the guy. I need to approve of it. Or it might be, don't lose it until you get married, right? Who knows what the conversation is?
Or let me educate you about.
Yeah, we haven't had that conversation yet. You told me you wasn't ready to have that conversation, so I don't want you to have sex until you tell me that you're ready to have that conversation. Like, who knows what the conversation is? We don't even know the detail. But the fact that people jump out and it's bad for a man who set an expectation for a daughter of virginity based off of whatever conditions they have personally, right? That is a bad thing to say, I want to know.
That's crazy.
That's nuts to me. That's just absolutely nuts. To be able to say, hey, you my daughter, and I want to know. Yes, I'm going to go to the hospital with you. You ain't got nothing to hide, do you? Because, we talk about this, right? We talk about these things. Obviously, because I'm all the way at the hospital. Why would you all of a sudden not want to sign it over now? What you got to hide? Right? So you look at it, people, well, that he looming over her head that he ain't going to take care of her no more. Yeah. It's like, are y'all not parents? You know what I'm saying? What you mean? When a kid doesn't do something, you tell them, yeah, but you never not going to feed your kid. No, you're not going to feed them, but, you going to feed them, but you might take away toys. You might take away the things that they like doing that you consider a privilege. You take it away from them. And who knows, maybe T.I. sees college as a privilege. Maybe he's giving her privilege money, right? Him being a celebrity and has money, right? Maybe he's giving her money to live a lifestyle that she wants to live, and maybe she doesn't want to give up that lifestyle. So maybe he uses that as a condition to make his daughter a better woman. They call that manipulation, though. Like, if y'all don't knock it off, y'all, they'll tear down some right stuff, but that's what it is. Not saying that T.I. is anywhere near somebody who served the Most High God, but that's the same form. Even with Kanye. Right? Even with Kanye. Look, these people sell tickets. They sell t-shirts. They do whatever they can to get their album sales to trick. That's what these rappers do now, to trick the album sales. Because ain't nobody buying an album no more. So they say, okay, I'm going to sell a t-shirt and an album at my concert. And so for every concert ticket that you do, I'm giving you a t-shirt and an album. Guess what? When I'm doing my tour, each ticket is an album sale. Right? Even though I'm packaging it, you bought a ticket. But I'm going to slide the album in there. So that counts as the album sale. Right? That's fine and dandy. Right? Fine and dandy. Kanye West come out and say, I want to have tickets for a Sunday service. You know what I'm saying? His Sunday thing where he do all the music and all that. Oh, everybody lost their darn mind. See, he's a hypocrite, this, that, and the other. I was like, y'all sell tickets all the time. He's a rapper, ain't he? Mm-hmm. What y'all mad at? Because you shouldn't be making money off the gospel. Y'all don't even believe it. What you care?
Because they ain't in that demographic over there making that money, so they know he ain't got to worry about nothing.
Then the article made a fool out of him. Tickets for free. You know what I'm talking about? I like that thing. I was like, I just made a fool out of y'all. Y'all had all this conversation, got done making all this fuss, and y'all some hypocrites yourself.
That's crazy.
If y'all gonna get Kanye for being a hypocrite, then get him for being a hypocrite. I just hate when people bring up these weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't real stuff. Same thing with Trump. They bring up all this weird stuff. Oh, he called an ambassador. There's real stuff we can talk about with Trump. There's real stuff we can talk about. Why in the world are we sitting here grasping at all this fake stuff? Let's talk about the fact, I just read last night, you know what I'm saying? I was up most of the night last night. I read the Supreme Court hearing, the transcript of it for Byron Allen versus Comcast. You know what I'm saying? And Trump's Department of Justice argued on the side of Comcast. You know what I'm saying? So Trump was helping out, a representative of Trump technically is arguing on the side of Comcast against black rights. And so he basically literally in the article is like, listen, sure, there may be a racial motivating factor in decisions, but that shouldn't be enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shouldn't be enough to take this case forward. You know what I'm saying? They should have to say what the whole problem of the case is. They're saying, Byron Allen is saying at the beginning of a case, when I'm just alleging something, When I'm telling you, hey, I would like to take this person to court for this, that, and the other, he says I should not have to prove that that's the only reason they discriminated on me for. Right? So I shouldn't have to prove at the beginning of the case, before the case even starts, I shouldn't have to have enough evidence to prove that the only reason they didn't give me my TV stations and my TV channels or whatever is because I'm black. That's what they saying. They said at the very beginning, you have to prove that you have to show enough evidence that this is the only reason that we use. The only reason you don't have it here is because you black. Right? And he's like, that's too much. That shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have to do that. We should just say it's a motivating factor. At some point, race was a consideration when they didn't give him the same opportunity. Right? So I'm looking at it, I'm like, they really arguing on the other side of that.
That's crazy.
Notice that not one Democrat is vocal about it. I think at the last day, I think like Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, some of them, you know what I'm saying, like wrote like, you know what I'm saying, some arguments to help Byron Allen out. You know what I'm saying? Last day just wrote something up and sent it to him. You know what I'm saying? But this whole time that's been going on, this is a slam dunk.
So
every opportunity they get, they call Trump racist. They call this is a legit, like, this is it. Everybody quiet.
yeah, the so-called solidarity people.
Oh, no, nobody. Oh, not yet. Oh yeah, not. They say the DACA. You know what I'm saying? The Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? They bill was being argued in Supreme Court the day before. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't nobody there for ours.
Yeah.
Right? And Yvette, you know what I'm saying? Yvette Carnell, you know what I'm saying? One of the people who started the ADOS thing, you know what I'm saying? She said, she was like, you know what I'm saying? All they have to do is like just stay an extra night. She also was like, really, that civil rights bill that they arguing is the foundation from which DACA and the rest of this stuff came from. That's what everybody reached for to make they, you know what I'm saying, gay rights and all this stuff. They reached down to these civil rights. So it's like, if this thing crumbled, that's bad for all y'all. But we stand there and we fight for it. We fight for it for us, but this applies to everybody. The stuff y'all fight for, y'all fighting for it for y'all, and we can't get nothing out of it.
None.
That's just the nature of how it is. Right? Everybody against us. It's always been like that, though.
Yep.
Always been like that. That thing ain't nothing new. Where we at right now? What we got right now? Go to Psalm chapter. Go to Psalm 137.
And the bad part is they'll try to pretend like they not. But if you really have a conversation with like a Mexican,
They don't care nothing
Asian,
about
or
that.
any
No,
minority,
they don't.
On the average of them don't care nothing about it. It's some that love us, right? It's some that appreciate us and love us. But the average of them, they don't care nothing about us. I know that thing. I done dealt with some of them.
The hard way in the dance world.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I didn't experience more racism with Mexicans than I have with white folks.
Yeah.
That's a fact. For me personally, I'm not saying white folks we know historically got the lion's share of it, right? I ain't trying to cast no aspersions on that. I'm just saying, me personally, dealing with Mexicans, I felt more racism there than white folks. Now I didn't have some Mexicans that absolutely down with black folk, you know what I'm saying, fight for the cause, all that. You know what I'm saying? I know some Mexicans in my life, it seemed like they'd go hard for it. You know what I'm saying? They want us. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That it happens. It's like it's just a fact. It's just a fact. It's like in every community. It's not just Mexicans either. These immigrants that's black.
yeah,
Same thing. Right? It's just a thing. And honestly, it's hard not to be. It's hard not to be against us. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you got the people who dominate and run this country cast us so far down. Right? So when you come into this country from somewhere else, you never going to want to come in and say, okay, let me start all the way at the bottom with the Negroes. That's nuts. It wouldn't even make sense. That's just like where you came from. That wouldn't make sense. So who you going to try to emulate? Whose favor you going to try to get? The white folks. It's just natural, right? When I come to this country, I'm coming for opportunity, freedom, success, right? Who got that? The white folks. So when I come in, my plan is already, okay, let me get, you know what I'm saying, let me get in their good favor. Let me impress them. Let me do, and so that's what you see immigrants doing. Whether they come in legally or illegally. You know what I'm saying? They come in, they try to get in the favor. try to impress them. All right. This is Psalm chapter 137, verse 1. Watch this.
37 verse.
137?
Oh, 137.
Yeah, 137.
I forgot Psalm got so many of those things. I'm like, what?
What's the book say?
By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. We wept when we remembered Zion.
Look.
We hung our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
Look at that. What they talking about right now?
Slavery. And they
look at this. Hold on. Look. He said, we sat there by the river of Babylon. We hung our harps. He like, when they carried us away captive, they require what?
A song.
They said, boy, sing a song for us. Sing one of them nice Hebrew songs for us. Why they carrying us away captive? Is it any different? They did our people just like that here. They still doing our people like that here. Sing a song. Go ahead and tap dance for me. Right? Watch this. Keep going.
How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
He said, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Let me see.
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning.
Mm-hmm.
If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem.
Look, he said, remember, O Lord, the children of who?
Edom in the day of Jerusalem. Who said, race it. Even to the
everybody was against us. The king of Babylon came to get us. The people of Edom was standing on the sideline. And they said, what?
Race it.
You know what that means?
Erase it.
Get rid of it. Burn it to the ground is what it's talking about. Right? You ever heard somebody say raise it? You know what I'm saying? Like it was a raise, or you know what I'm saying? It's like a siege almost. You know what I'm saying? It's almost a different way of saying siege. Right? They said take that thing, burn it to the ground. They cheering the Babylonians on the sidelines. Everybody is against us. Nothing's changed. It's not new. It's not new. Secretly, man, these people out here making side deals, cutting us out, ignoring us, all these different things. But you have to think about it.
These are all lands conspired against. All nations are conspired against you.
That's exactly where we are. All of them. Right? We sat there and for all this time, reparations is not even a serious conversation. Right? Not even a serious conversation. Now it's getting to the point where a small group of black people is like, oh no, you gotta talk about this. And so we getting some people talk about, like even President Trump, like he gotta mention it on TV, like, you know what I'm saying? Well, I think reparations is an interesting idea. I don't think it would happen, but I think it's an interesting idea. Right? He on national TV like, look, you guys built this country. You don't get enough credit for it, but you guys built this country. When does the president say any of this? And it certainly ain't because Trump is just like, oh, I'm just going to keep it real. No. We making noise and Trump see an opportunity because he know that we not satisfied by what's coming from the Democrats. So he trying to capitalize on that opportunity. Right? But it's an issue that's being forced. So what do you think? The Democrats, who was supposedly our party, right? They quiet about it. What do you think is happening? You think if Trump hearing about it, right? You don't think they hearing about it? So what do you think is happening in these back rooms? They couldn't deal. Like, listen, none of us are gonna talk about this. All right? None of us are gonna talk about this. We'll talk this. We'll do this. None of us gonna talk about this. Think about it. Though this is a closed case. Trump is racist. He's arguing against civil rights. This is closed case, and nobody mentions it. You don't think it's a side deal being cut? Republicans, Democrats against each other to the death until it comes to black folk. George Bush don't care about black people, and Bill Clinton will throw y'all butts all in jail. Ronald Reagan call y'all monkeys. Y'all saw that? Y'all saw that thing came out? They released an article. You know what I'm saying? Because they had to look up. They started to look up some tapes from Ronald Reagan. You know what I'm saying? He called black people. He was like, those monkeys just learned how to wear shoes. This, that, and another. He wasn't talking about black people in America, but he was talking about black people. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? You don't think these people talking like this? They got Nixon. You know what I'm saying? Nixon called us the N-word, all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Lyndon B. Johnson, I think they got him on record doing it. President, Republican. I mean, Democrat, Republican. All presidents. One thing they can all agree on.
Obama definitely ignored us.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? No doubt about it. Right? One thing that all nations can agree on is them Negroes, the ones that descend from the Israelites. We don't care nothing about it. Sometimes they can't differentiate us from the other black folk. So we apologize to other black folk, but y'all getting it on our behalf. You know what I'm saying? Y'all getting it just because they just don't know how to, you know what I'm saying? They don't know how to make a difference between you. Right?
That's why they asked you on them government forms, where you from.
Yeah, they want to know. Or they gonna really light us up this time. They gonna allow us to write in where we from. What do you think I'm writing? Yeah, they said on this one they gonna write in. They said if you black, you can specify. You know what I'm saying? Exactly like, you know what I'm saying, where you think you from. You know what I'm saying? What you think I'm from? I'm gonna put so much on there and be like ADOS / Hebrew / descendant of the ancient Israelites / you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna slash they butt up. I was like, you better put all of it on there too. You know what I'm saying? When I get my results back, I want to see it all on there. You write it. People make a mess out of us. All right? But that's why the Most High God, Edom said, go watch this. Read it again for me.
For there they carried us away captive, required of us a song. And they that wasted us required of us myrrh, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Mm-hmm.
How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof.
Mm-hmm.
O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewards you as you have served us. Happy shall he be that takes and dashes your little ones against the stone.
Look at what they saying about us. They're like, man, it's going to be a good day when they tear your butt up, when they kill all your little babies. Right? That's why look, go to Obadiah. There's only one chapter. We ain't got to read it all. We just read, start at verse 10. Bless you. Go to Obadiah, then we're going to finish out Daniel. We might jump around a little bit. We just got to figure it out.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Mm-hmm.
In the day that you stood on the other side, and the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them.
Right? So he's telling them, he's like, this is Most High God talking to Edom. The whole book of Obadiah, or the whole chapter of Obadiah, however you want to look at it, it's directed at Edom. Right? It's directed at Esau. So he's reading it to him here. He's saying it to him. He's looking like, look, the day that you stood by the side, just like what we read in 137 of Psalm. He's like, the day you stood to the side and you were talking about raise it, right? The day you stood to the side, he's like, you was just as one of them. You was just as the enemy. Watch this.
But you should not have looked on the day of your brother and the day that he became a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
Neither should you have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Neither should you have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, you should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
Right? They came in and stole our stuff. He said you shouldn't have laid hands on their substance. I mean, he came in, he was like, that's nice. Let me take that. Remember, it was just poor people left in the land. I mean, they took from the stuff that the poor could have had. All right, let's see.
Neither should you have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape.
Right? We were trying to get away, and them boys are standing up like, no. Right? They've had nothing to do with this. But just because of the hatred they have for us, they're standing in the way and be like, no. You don't think that's happening now? You don't think that stuff is happening now?
That's what the Native Americans were doing.
It was yes, 100%. It was a cop that shot a boy. You know what I'm saying? He is running. He did have a weapon on him, but they say, you know what I'm saying? They say he had a weapon on him. You know what I'm saying? But he was running, and they say he had a weapon on him. But the video show him, no matter what, running away, and he's in the motion like this. They slow down the video, and his hand is like this. He's already running like this, right? His hand like this, and they say at that moment he was reaching for his gun. And so shot him. Now the cop later found out he had a gun, right? But all the cops, in reality, the cop just shot him because he was running. You know what I'm saying? He did just run, have a robbery or something like that, they say. You know what I'm saying? But they shot him because he was running. So I like to look at the comments and just see all the different people. You see all different nationalities of people, and all of them is defending the cop. All of them is like, good for the cop. Another thug off of the street. This, that, and other. And this is not just white folk. And they provide cover for these white cops. Same thing here. They ain't doing that's no different from just standing up and like, not this way. You trying to escape? Right? That's what we see happening. That's the type of stuff, like, it angers us, and to some degree it's supposed to. But don't be unprepared. This is par for the course. What we experience is not unnormal. It shouldn't be unexpected. Now, that don't mean be soft and numb to it. I'm not telling you that so you can be like, oh, well, we expected it. Ain't no reason for us to do nothing. That's not the reason I'm telling you. I'm telling you that so you can be resilient and say, okay, I knew this was coming. I'm prepared for it. Now I know how to fight it. We fight all wrong. If it's wrong, we fight it, right? We fight for justice, even if we know it's God's will. That's just how it's supposed to be, right? Even if God tells us something bad is going to happen, that don't mean when it happened we call it right because God said it was supposed to happen, right? He told us it was bad. He told us it was going to happen. That's for our preparation so we know, all right, let's tackle this situation. Even if God told us we're not going to be successful, that don't mean we stand back and be like, oh, we already know we're going to lose. You'll never see that in the book. Matter of fact, you see examples of why you wouldn't want to do that. When the Most High God sent Jonah to Nineveh, and Jonah actually went, what did Jonah say to Nineveh?
Destruction in 40 days.
Did he say destruction if you don't obey?
No, he just said destruction, city be overthrown.
He didn't give them no way out, no options. What did the people in Nineveh do? Who remembers? They even made the animals fast. Right? And the Most High God did what? So we can't take it and be like, okay, well, that's what the book say. The book already gave a prophecy that this, that, and the other is going to happen. Book can give a lot of prophecy. The Most High God is wise enough to get himself around this stuff too. Okay, think about it. Levi and Simeon. Right? Through deceit, they had all of the people of Shechem, I think, right? Shechem's people?
I don't remember.
I want to say Shechem's people. I might be wrong about that. But they had all of the people in Canaan, or not all of them, but a certain group of people in Canaan. They had them get circumcisions because they felt that the man defiled their sister. Had them get circumcisions, made them believe that they were going to join the Israelites, right? Join us Hebrews, right? They wasn't technically Israelites at that point. Then, as soon as they got injured from their circumcision and they resting, they kill all the boys. Most High God didn't like it. Jacob didn't like it. Jacob said, Most High God is going to separate you and going to spread you out through all of Israel. Right? So they didn't get a true inheritance. That happened. That prophecy was fulfilled. But in another event, Levi stood up for the Most High God when no one else would. So guess what? The Most High God turned that into, technically you don't get an inheritance from the people, and technically you will be spread out. But now I'm going to be your inheritance. So the Levites end up being the priests. Like those are the type of things that the Most High God, he'll take it and his prophecy going to be right. And in the midst of it, he'll still reward us for doing the right thing. So we can't look at Bible prophecy or looking at, oh, well, we know God already told us. I see a lot of Hebrew kind of take that position. Oh, you already know that's how it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why you surprised. I get it. Don't be surprised. But don't be numb. Don't be sitting there and be like, oh, don't even do nothing. You already know that's not how it's supposed to be. We already know. We already know that this is how it's supposed to be. This is how things going to play out. No matter what, we have a duty to do what God commanded us to do. I know it's going to be sinners. I know these Christians ain't going to listen to me. I know all these things. Does that mean I'm going to stop preaching the word? That don't make sense. I know people going to turn this on and be like, and turn it off. Does that mean be like, I just give up and just, that don't make sense. Word got to get out. I ain't so full of myself to say, oh, if people don't respond to me, that means, no, that don't mean nothing. These videos live on after I darn die. These things get 2-3 views right now. I darn die, them things spike up. You mess around, just give up, you know what I'm saying? Just be like, and you just cut off all the God's plan. Now you got to use somebody else. It's a glory to be used by the Most High God. Please, I ain't got to see nothing. I believe it. I believe the man. You know what I'm talking about? I believe the man. I know what the man is. I read this book, and based off of what I read, I ain't had no vision. I ain't had no experience. I ain't had none of that stuff. This book is enough for me. I look at it and be like, this thing just makes sense to me. I've never in my life seen anything make so much darn sense. Anything that I've ever experienced in my entire life, nothing has made as much sense as this book to me. And I'm not a dumb guy. I don't care what nobody does. I ain't the smartest person in the world, but I'm not dumb. I can look at some stuff and I can make sense out of some stuff. When I look at this, I'm like, this is the most clear, while yet unclear thing I've ever seen in my life. It's the most precise while being vague. You know what I'm saying? Like this thing, like you look, it just makes sense. Even the part that don't make sense, it's like, man, it makes sense that don't make sense. I appreciate the man. I believe him. He got all my trust. I'll be like, yeah, I know that's how it's gonna go. So for me, it's a small thing. You know, let's do a couple Bible study. We're gonna do more too. You know what I'm saying? We gotta push the envelope. Right? We gotta push the envelope. We gotta figure out how to agitate. You know what I'm saying? Start making these people make a choice.
Yeah.
Alright, I ain't bothering. I don't want to bother the ones that, you know what I'm saying, they're just in the world. These people who say they represent God, gotta figure out a way that's lawful, that we can find a precedent for in the book, but we gotta put them in a position, make a darn choice. Everybody can't be sitting around here playing both sides of it. No, make a darn choice. You believe the word, right? What does the word say? Now reject it or accept it. All right, good. You rejected it. All right, good. You accepted it. You have to come with us, or do your own thing. Either way, I just appreciate that you accepted. We don't need you. We don't have to be together. All right? We can be in different factions, different groups, as long as we all saying and doing the same thing. Problem is when your faction doing something different than my faction, your faction believes something different. That's a heresy at that point, right? I see. Keep on going. This is Obadiah still.
Yeah.
Let's jump back over to Daniel. This is Daniel chapter 6. What verse we leave off on?
Verse 7.
Yeah.
It's Daniel chapter 6, verse 7.
Well, we're on 6 actually.
Daniel chapter 6, verse 6.
These presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said thus to him, King Darius, live forever.
Mm-hmm.
All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, except for you, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions.
So remember, this is how they trying to set him up, right? They said, look, it ain't no way we gonna find an occasion against him, except we find it by the law of his God. So he's looking at it like, okay, what we'll do is we know that the man is gonna call on this God, right? We know the man is gonna pray. In fact, we about to learn that Daniel prayed how many times a day?
3 times.
3 times. So they gonna say, all right, let's make it a decree that for how long? 30 days?
30 days.
For a whole month, you can't call on the name of any other God. This plays into the ego of the king, right? King like, okay, that's a good law I can make, you know what I'm saying? It shows that I got respect for the gods, you know what I'm saying? It puts everybody in the rule. This will go down in history. So that played into the ego. It was a smart plan by them. So let's see what happens.
Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing that it may not be changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alters not.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he knelt upon his knees.
He prayed where?
In his chamber toward Jerusalem.
He prayed toward Jerusalem. Why would he do that?
Because of what King Solomon asked.
That's right. Remember seeing Solomon made that prayer. Where is that?
1 Kings 8.
Let's go to it real quick. Real quick. Hold we got, we're gonna come right back there. Put a thumb in it. Put a, you know what I'm saying? Put a little, what's it called? A little bookmark in it. It's 1 Kings chapter 8. Find a verse for me. I would say it's about verse 20 or something like that. You sure it's 8 or is it 7?
It's 8.
Okay.
I'll go 44.
44. This is 1 Kings chapter 8 verse 44. What does the book say?
If thy people go out to battle against their enemy, wheresoever you shall send them, and shall pray unto the Lord towards the city which you have chosen, and toward the house that I have built for your name, then hear in heaven their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause. If they sin against you,
Go.
for there
Y'all
is
go.
no man that sins not, and you be angry with them, and deliver them into the enemy, so that they carry them away captive.
That they what? Carried away what?
Carry them away captive into the land of the enemy, far or near. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land where they were carried captive, and repent and make supplication unto you in the land of them that carried them captive, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely, we have committed wickedness, and so return unto thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee towards their land.
And towards their what?
Towards their land.
Towards their what?
Towards their land.
Let's see.
Which you gave unto their fathers, the city which you have chosen, and the house which I have built for your name. Then hear thou their prayer, their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause.
Right? We ain't got to get it, but in the next verse, our next chapter, he said, I'll hear them. Right? The Most High God agreed to that. So now Daniel, knowing his book, he opened up the window, everybody could see, looked toward Jerusalem, and he prayed toward that land. Just like Solomon prayed for it, right? It's important when we look at this book, there's nothing that's going to lay that out. There's nothing like in the New Testament, certain things are explained for us. Certain things like, oh, well, this is what this really meant. And this is the great mystery of this. And did you know that when it said the two that become one flesh, that's actually a testimony of Yahushua and all that. Like some of these things are kind of laid out, very few really. But there's so much of that in the book. These people who think they teach in Bible have not even scratched the surface. These people are not even touching nothing real. All they do is talking about, oh, well, God's grace is, and you don't even get that one right. Talk about God's grace is a pardon. You've never read that. Like you're just making stuff up. There's nothing in the book that tells you that. Every time grace is mentioned, you got Paul coming back like, does that mean that we sin? Like he tell you straight out, God forbid. If you dead to sin, how you gonna? That don't make sense. Paul trying to say, if you dead to something, how you gonna keep doing it? Maybe it makes sense to somebody. I just don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously, to the average of these people, that thing just don't click.
Very logical, bro.
That thing is very logical. It's the most logical thing you can get. That book is like, it's as logical as like a law firm or a law book. You know what I'm saying? It's like that thing is just law. Set it up, everything. All right? Even in law, you know what in law, as I'm reading that transcript of the Supreme Court, and the judges, the Supreme Court judges, they be asking, you know what I'm saying, asking questions, trying to figure it out. They be like, yeah, but in this case, this, that, and that. So they all quoting cases, you know what I'm saying, that have like precedent, because that's what you want to show. You know what I'm saying? In law, like you want to be able to show that this has already happened, and this is how it was dealt with. This has already happened, and this is already dealt with. That's exactly how this book is. It gives you precedent. That's why the whole book testifies who? To give you precedent. Like before he came, the man is before all of this. But before he came, he laid down multiple situations that set forth a precedent. That way when he come, it's not unfamiliar. He can point back and be like, but that's how we handled it here. That's how we handled it there. Right? I don't know. These people don't get it though. This is our law. That thing makes sense for us because this is our law. For them, they going to practice law, do all these hypocrite laws they got. Well, they got a perfect law right here and they going to reject it. That's your own funeral. Let's see, what else we got? It's Daniel, right?
Yeah.
Daniel chapter 6, verse what?
10.
It's Daniel chapter 6, verse 10. Let's see if we can get through it.
Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into the house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did before time.
Mm-hmm.
Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God.
Mm-hmm.
Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree.
Mm-hmm.
Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask the petition of any god or man within 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
except for you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions?
Mm-hmm.
The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alters not.
Mm-hmm.
Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regards not thee, O king, nor the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased.
Why was it 3 times a day?
They say that 3 is the number of...
For real. Why would it be 3 times a day? What would be our precedent for 3 times? What would be Daniel's precedent for 3 times a day? It's a tricky one. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that we went into much detail on. So it'd be a tricky one. But anybody remember anything that would have happened 3 times a day previously? Back in the wilderness, maybe?
No.
Or sacrifices.
We got the morning and the evening.
You got the morning, the day,
one
and
for
the evening.
everybody, one for all the people.
You got the morning sacrifice, the day sacrifice, and the evening sacrifice. All right. So that would be our precedent for 3 times a day. That's why he would pray 3 times a day. Because we remember now we don't have a temple. Our sacrifices wouldn't be in place. All right. So it would be his 3 times of prayer. Let's see. Keep going. Let's see.
Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him.
Right? He wanted to deliver. He was looking like, oh, I didn't mean for this to catch you up, Daniel. Right? They knew what they were doing. They knew the king wouldn't think about Daniel. He was like, oh, not Dan, not my boy. So he set his heart to deliver him. But remember,
in his mind, Daniel never did nothing wrong. So.
Right. And he looking like this is petty. Right? So he set his heart to deliver him. But the law of the Medes and the Persians, you know what I'm saying? That thing can't be, you know what I mean? You can't reverse that thing. They already set it up. So let's see how it happened.
And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him.
Mm-hmm.
Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed.
Mm-hmm.
And the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto
So
Daniel,
hold on. He got thrown in there with all lions. right? So there's a bunch of lions in there. Daniel's stuck in there with lions. Now, naturally, the lions would eat him up. Yum, 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 yum. Right? Yeah, go ahead and make lunch of them. So now Daniel's sitting down there. Everybody looking like King, sad King, like, okay, well, you know what? We about to lose my boy Daniel. All right, that's it. All right, let's see how it play out.
And the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the dens of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. And the stone, I can just imagine, I was like, hey, your God gonna save you right now.
You gonna be fine. You know what I'm saying? You gonna be fine. Don't even worry about it. Just close your eye. You know what I'm saying? Tell him anything. Watch this though.
And the stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king.
What that remind us of?
The Messiah.
What that remind us of the Messiah?
They put the rock over the sepulchre.
Right? When he went to his grave, didn't they roll a stone? All right? That was Daniel's grave, ain't it? That's intended to be Daniel's grave. Once the tiger go back, I tell you what, when you go to a dead grave, the intent is to put it in the grave and then never touch it again, right? So you got tigers down there. Once you put Daniel in there, do you think there was any intention to go and try to retrieve Daniel from them lions? No, that was his grave. Right? All right, keep going. Watch this. Whole book testified him, man.
And the stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is your God whom you serve continually able to deliver you from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel and has shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and before you, O king, have I done no hurt.
Ain't that a beautiful thing? Let me tell you something. So it's always important for us when we look at this, when we look at the book, it's always important for us to put this in reality, right? To make this real for us. So apart from Daniel being stuck with the lions and being put in a position where he gonna have to be stuck in there and avoid being eaten and all that. That part is one thing, right? The second part is that you have a king who serves the Most High God. Or not serves, a king who's acknowledging the Most High God, right? You have to understand that this is the king that still has our people captive. And how does Daniel respond to him? He says, Daniel, you serve your God continually. Is he able to save you? Right? And Daniel responds by saying what to the king? Read it for me again. How did Daniel respond to him? We have to put this thing in reality. This is our president, right? Who still got our people. President Trump didn't put us in captivity, but he presides over the country that put us in captivity. Same thing with Darius. Darius didn't put them in captivity, but he presides over the country. How do you think the other Hebrews feel about Darius? Don't mess with him. Let my people go. Send them back home. Hook us up. Right? Same way our people right now, right? But Daniel worked for the man. Watch this. Watch how he responds to him.
Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God whom you serve continually able to deliver you from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever.
O king, live forever. He told him, live forever. Let us say something like that to any president here. You a coon and this, that, and the other. For us, it's a thin line that we walk. It's different. Right? For Daniel, it was a thin line. He was always cozy with the ruler. Think about it. Nebuchadnezzar, the one who destroyed our land, Daniel was out there hooking him up. Dropping advice to him, converted him. You know what I'm saying? That was his right-hand man almost. How do you think the other Hebrews felt about that? You saw how the Hebrews felt when Jeremiah was trying to give them the game. How do you think some of the Hebrews who went felt about it? Man, if you don't knock it off. But that's the reality of it. Things are not that simple. Right? We can't look at things that simply. Certainly we don't want to condone nothing going wrong. Right? But you can see these are complicated men. These ain't men that the King Darius, Nebuchadnezzar, these wasn't men that were just straight up and narrow. They served the Most High God. They acknowledged them. But at the same time, he just passed a law saying, worship no other God but this false God. And Daniel still after that said, live forever. Right? It's a certain level of respect that Daniel had just for the authority, period. And that's something that I think we've lost today. You know what I'm saying? That's why the book tells us respect authority. People going to call us coons. People going to call all that. But we respect the order and we respect the authority. Even if we don't rock with you and what you believe and what you say. I ain't about to run my mouth against you. I ain't about to say nothing disrespectful to you. You got the authority. In fact, you had the authority over my people. Keep going.
Then was the king exceedingly glad for him and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of the lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den.
I got that. Right? These are the things that said that what we're called to be is called to be set apart. Right? That's what it comes down to. We are called to be separated, to be set apart. These are the things that set us apart. You kind of have to think about it this way. Right? People are not going to accept us. People are not going to look. And that's going to be on both sides. We always going to be in this place where it's like, it seems like everybody is against us. That's how I constantly feel, and that's how I like it. I don't like it because I like it. I like it because it's indicative to me that this is how it's supposed to be according to the book. Right? It's just a confirmation for me. Right? I don't try too hard to be anti anything. I just naturally walk a thin line because that's just how the Most High God requires it. Right? I'm respectful to all of my bosses. Privately, I will tell them exactly, like, look, I don't do this, I'm not with this, I'm not with this. In front of people, respect. That sets me apart. So while everybody else is complaining about the boss, oh, I hate when they this, and that, I never get involved. I'm like, oh, well, you got to understand. I'm almost defending them. You got to understand, well, they got to consider this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other, da, da, da. That sets me apart. That's not necessarily a good thing in business. Right? In business, that thing kind of puts you in put a target on you. Nevertheless, that don't change my protocol. Mm-hmm. I'm still gonna walk a thin line and do things appropriately. That thing has to go when we talk about politics, when we talk about business, we talk about church, we talk about, you know what I'm saying, anything. That has to go the same way. We can't walk. Anytime we went in here and we talk to these pastors, we know these pastors just lying hypocrites. When we talk to these pastors, did we ever approach them with disrespect in any way? That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. Right. Why would I walk up to you with disrespect? That's crazy. What does that do? That set us apart. These other Hebrews, they'll walk in the middle of their church, interrupt their service, this, that, and that. That don't make sense. We never saw Paul do that.
Man, that thing was crazy, bro.
That's crazy, man.
Oh, I enjoy watching it.
They be tripping.
You know, I enjoy watching it.
They do be tripping.
But no. That's nuts. That don't make sense. We read Acts. Paul went and attended. Right? Then after that, they say, Paul, do you have any work? Because Paul had a level of respect. He was set apart. So it was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll speak. And then he laid it out. That's when everybody, whoa, get the mic from him. And said, whoa, what are you talking about? But that's how we want it to be. We don't want to try to trick and be slick and do all that. Oh, yeah, I believe everything you say, just give me the mic. And then we lay it on them. That's not us, right? But these people, let them give us the space to speak. And if they don't, then we speak in our space. We speak in a neutral space. We won't walk into their church if you don't want to speak in the church. But if you ask me a question in your church, oh, your butt done messed up. You give me the mic in your church, oh, your butt done messed up. Right? But that's it. Other than that, I'll walk out of your church, we done. Outside of your church, this neutral area. We talking. You know what I'm saying? Now we talking. That's your stuff, we could. You just got to treat respect with anybody. When it comes time to talk to these politicians, remember, our people, when it comes to a prophet, not trying to say any of us are prophets, but just saying that order. When it comes to a prophet, we prophets speak to authority. It ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Prophet ain't gonna talk. Oh, sister, I see you've been having a rough 2 weeks, but the Lord said your check is coming. Ain't got no, what you seen? Ain't got no time for that stuff.
Yeah, all the like super cracking being a guy, we're all poor anyway.
He ain't got no time for that.
Except for like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like,
They telling, man, the minute God come, they telling you something bad about to happen. They come to you a warning. They might give you some good news after that. You know what I'm saying? But that thing, the bulk of what they saying is about a warning. And they definitely not coming to you with good news before a warning.
yeah, that's for sure.
They might tell you, oh, but God is going to rescue us and this, that, and the other, and da-da-da. But that's just to make you feel better after he told, oh, but he gonna wipe the floor clean with your butt first. They just bring something in like, don't lose hope now. It ain't all bad. More like God tell them some of the good stuff too.
Yeah, the good stuff ain't gonna happen till they dead and brought
Oh, that thing gone.
Yeah.
That's how I always work with the good stuff.
Like, you gotta die first to get that.
I mean, prophets, I'm saying, ain't too many prophets that saw the good before they died.
No.
You can go through all of them almost, and you can just see, oh, no, he died.
David was like the
He
only
died.
one.
I mean, David saw some of the good.
Yeah, he barely saw it.
He thought he didn't see none of the real good. He just saw some of the good. Yeah, ain't too many promises that they saw. I mean, yeah, most of our guys, some of them that, most of our God made a promise and they see it, men of God see it, right? But even in those situations, it's usually a bigger promise that they didn't get to see.
I think it was that one dude in the New Testament that was like, God said he wouldn't die until he saw the Lord's face or something like that.
All right?
Yeah. That's about it. That's all I can remember.
I ain't got nothing coming to mind right now, right? But that's how it plays out, right? That's how it looks. Right? It's important that we understand these things and that we're able to set forth an order and set forth an expectation for us because it makes us resilient, not numb. It's unacceptable for us to be numb. It's unacceptable for something to happen. We just be like, oh, that's weak. That's weak. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be weak. We don't want to just be like, you know what I'm saying, just give us an excuse to give up. You know what I'm saying? We want to fight. You know what I'm saying? But we want to fight with righteousness. You know what I'm saying? We want to fight the right fight. You know what I'm saying? We want to do that thing right. We want to move correctly. You know what I'm saying? We don't want nobody to be able to gainsay us. You can't say nothing against us. And if you do, you gotta make it up. The only occasion you're gonna fight is with the law of our God. You get me because I whoop my kid. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason you're gonna get me. You get me because I'm against homosexuality and fornication. Right? And that's acceptable now. You get me because I tell you shouldn't be smoking no darn weed. They say, but that's legal now. You know what I mean? Like that's what you get me for. You ain't gonna get me for being a hypocrite. You ain't gonna get me for being a sinner. Shame on me if you do. Shame on me if you do. That thing don't go nothing against the Most High God. Most High God is impeccable. That's what we gotta understand, man. It's a fight that gotta be had out here, and we can't be weak. We gotta start moving and shaking. Getting late in the darn day. These people out here suffering. They don't even know they suffering too. Living lavish. Yeah. Book say she woman, what is it?
Pleasure is dead while she living.
Yeah, woman living in pleasure is dead while she living. Dead while she yet living. There's a lot of people out here just dead. just dead. The average of it. I mean, that thing is overwhelming to my brain. Because it's like, it feels like, Lord, and I know other men of God have said this, but Lord, it feels like there is no one else out there. That's how I feel. I refuse to believe that's the case. Because I have precedent to tell me that's not the case. Right? But based off of the eye test, my God. You know what I'm saying? Based off of who I bump into, who I run into. And it's not like I'm just in Las Vegas. I mean, sure I am physically. But we on the internet connected. I mean, God, I ain't bumped into nobody out there. Not telling it right.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I found some people get close to it. But, I mean, that cigar ain't right, though. You know what I'm talking about? It's just like, oh, that's interesting to me, man. It's almost overwhelming. It's like, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I appreciate God for the confidence in His word, though. All right? A lot of other people that bend and buckle. They bend and buckle and give up and just be like, oh, well, you know, it ain't moving like it's supposed to. It ain't shaking like it's supposed to. How do we know we right? Start questioning everything. I just can't bring myself to it. Not saying I haven't questioned some stuff, but with it all way, if I question something, I question me. I'll look back at that word, I'll be like, man, that thing show though. It's like I can't even make myself believe that I'm not reading that thing right. I'm looking at it like, that's what it say. You know what I'm saying? That thing easy, because it's like I never got into the game of, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, this really means I never played them games, right? Ever since I started reading the Bible, my whole idea is, what it say? I'm a very literal person. What it say? I don't know. We'll wrap it up there. We gotta get into Ezra next, right? So we gotta kind of get through the history. We still got the Medes and the Persians. We're gonna see who Medes and the Persians. We're gonna see who gonna come after that. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll get into Ezra and kind of talk about where he picked things up at. Any questions? All right, let's pray out.